So here's a question for you. Would you benefit from ongoing support to improve your sales conversations and ultimately close more business? The Sales Maven Society offers you daily support for your urgent sales questions, an extensive library of bite-sized trainings to hone your selling skills, and monthly live coaching calls where you receive individualized coaching from me specific to your business so that you're able to remove any bottlenecks in your sales process. This is the most robust sales coaching program around for an incredible value of only $147 a month. And you can join now for your first month for only $47. You get access to absolutely everything, including the live coaching calls with me. Come check it out and see if this is the place for you to really elevate your business to the next level. You can do this by going to yoursalesmaven.com/society, hit the join now button. And then when it takes you to that page, enter this code, the number 4, the number 7, and the word trial, TRIAL. So 47 trial, all one word, and you'll be a member. I can't wait to see you in there. Now, here's the podcast.
Do sales conversations make you feel awkward or pushy? It's time to ditch the outdated salesy strategies. Your guide, Nikki Rausch, will show you how to combine kindness with selling skills to meet your prospects where they are, and in the process, how to up-level your influence and income. Learn how to earn business easily and effortlessly. Here's Nikki.
Welcome. And thank you for listening. This is the Sales Maven Podcast. I'm your host, Nikki Rausch. Super happy to get to spend this time with you. I have a pretty quick episode for you today because I think it's a really simple little episode here, and I think it's going to pack a punch. That's the goal anyway. You tell me how I did at the end. So there was a situation that came up recently. A client had asked me about how to handle a particular situation. And you may find yourself or have found yourself in this very same situation at some point in your business. And it's good, I think, to have somebody to talk it through with. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk through when you find yourself in these situations. And really, this comes back to a reason, or when there are reasons to raise your prices. So here was a situation that was brought to me recently from a client. She is somebody who does quite a bit of training in her marketplace, and somebody had reached out and inquired about having her come and do a training for their organization. Now, one of the things that this client did right off the bat that I have to say I'm pretty delighted about is she asked about their budget. She asked what it was that, what they were looking to invest in having this training presented to their organization. Now, this is such an important key step in a prospective conversation with a client or potential client, is to ask about budget. As a matter of fact, I recorded an episode about this not too long ago. It's episode 154. It's called Avoiding This Sales Question is a Deal Killer. And in there, I talk about ways to frame the question about asking for budget, because I find that a lot of people hold themselves back. They're afraid to ask about budget. And I don't want you to be afraid. I want you to confidently ask that question anytime you find yourself in a situation. So if you haven't listened to that episode, at the end of this episode, maybe go back and take a quick listen. Or maybe if you've heard it but you can't remember, maybe go back and listen again. All right, so it's there for you. So she asked them about the budget. Now here's where the little she wasn't sure what to do next kind of came in, is the number that they came back with was significantly higher than what she typically charges for her training. So in that moment, she felt a little bit like, okay, what do I do now? Do I tell them, oh, I don't charge that much? Do I just say I'll do it for that amount? And then what if they find out later that my fees are less? Or do I do something else? So that was the discussion that we had. And I said, well, these are great opportunities when somebody comes to you and they're looking to hire somebody to do something that you do quite often. And this is an ideal client, or when it's an ideal client. In this particular case, it absolutely was an ideal client. And they're willing to pay a higher price for your services, for your training in this instance. That may be the catalyst for you deciding that you are raising your prices across the board on this particular service. Now, maybe you're raising them on everything, but any new client or prospective client that comes in and wants to hire you, they get this new pricing based on the fact that you are now going to raise your price. So again, it's up to her to decide, just like it's up to you. It's your business. But this is a really good opportunity for you to go, what will the market bear? In this particular case, she was in a very similar situation that I think a lot of us find ourselves in, where we're like, I don't think I'm charging enough. I know other people are charging way more than I am. And so maybe this is that time for you to raise your price. Now there's a couple other suggestions that I gave to her too. So I want to share those with you. She wasn't quite sure. She said she would get back to them with a quote. Now, so this is allowed for us to have this conversation. And I said, well, there's a couple other ways that you could handle this too. So I want to share those with you as well. So again, when you find yourself in these situations, you get to decide which one you want to pick. I've laid out the first option. That's going to be my preferred option for you when it makes sense for your business, that's a good indicator. This is the reason to raise your prices now. Okay. Now, a second option that I suggested to her is that she could put together some type of a package that included some extra things that raised the price to that level of what they were looking to invest. So for instance, I have done this in my own, business when I've had somebody that has had a higher budget. Actually, I do this even when they don't have a higher budget. It's an offer that I make to them. If I'm going to come in and do a corporate training, oftentimes I offer them a package that includes anywhere from 1 to multiple strategy sessions to take me up on after we do the training. And I found that to be hugely beneficial for sales teams, that they have me come in, do a training for their team, and then we meet either every week. Sometimes we meet every other week. And then with other clients, I've done this where we meet every month for a few months. And it allows for the sales team to come back and talk about what they've implemented as a result of the training, what the results have been, what worked, what they tried that they kind of felt stuck on, and any new situations that kind of bubble to the surface as a result of them doing something different that they learned in the training. These have been highly beneficial. So there's a second option for you of something that you could offer. What else could you put in the package that would allow for you to, give them what they're looking for and maybe a little bit more and still falls within their budget? Like, be creative in these moments. You don't have to just leave money on the table, right? If you don't want to. Now, the third situation is you could just say to them, my fee is actually this for that. So I'm definitely within your budget. So let's go ahead and book it now, right? That's like 3 different scenarios here. And you get to decide in your business which feels like the best option for you right now. I had a situation years ago. I remember this is back when I was still living in the Seattle area. It was kind of fairly early on in my business, and I was starting to get asked to speak at different events more often. And I remember getting a call from an organization that had gotten my name from somebody who sat on one of their committees. They had a speaker that dropped out at the last minute. It was less than a week before the speaking opportunity. And it was something that they had already sold tickets to. I think they had over 100 tickets sold. So there were going to be 100 people in the room for this event, and they were expecting a speaker on a particular topic. Now, my topic was a little different, but it was still something that would be relevant to the people coming to attend. And they truly were coming. There was some networking piece of it, but this wasn't like a standard networking thing. This was something where they were coming to learn. So they paid money to come to learn something, okay? So at the last minute, for whatever reason, the original speaker they had to drop out. So they reached out to me, said I came recommended to them, asked if there was any chance that I could like step in and, in kind of in their words, like save the day. They were really stressed about it. So it did work out in my schedule. It was fairly local to me, so it wasn't a huge deal. It wasn't like I had to get on a plane and go speak somewhere. And so I did what I advise all of my clients to do. I asked them, what's your budget for your speaker? And they came back with a fee that was quite a bit higher than what I had been charging. But in that moment, I'm like, well, I'm saving the day for them. And if they're willing to pay this amount for me to come in and deliver this content, my IP, then that's going to be my new price across the board. So anybody new reaching out, asking me to come and do this training for them, this is a new pricing. So I said, they gave me a range actually. They said, we typically pay our speakers between X and Y. And I said, great, I'll do it for Y. I want the higher amount. And I know that at the time they had shared that they typically put their speakers up in a hotel the night before the speaking opportunity. And I said, and you won't need to put me up in a hotel because I'm fairly local. I'll be driving in that morning and I'll leave, later that afternoon at the end of the event. Basically, because I'll do just about anything to be able to sleep in my own bed. I'm one of those people who I love sleep and I love, love, love my bed. So anything 6 hours or less, I'm probably going to drive it. And that could be one way. Like I really will do just about anything to sleep in my own bed. So they were delighted. They were so delighted that here I am stepping in. I'm within their budget and I actually saved them because the other speaker was flying in from out of town. They were going to have to pay, T&E expenses for this other speaker, including the hotel night. So for me, it was a good opportunity. And then that just became my set level pricing across the board. Because now I was like, well, these are my ideal clients. It's proven that they'll pay this amount. Like I've got this under my belt. That's going to be my speaker fee from now on this particular topic. And it has since raised, over the years, I've raised it quite a bit. I actually charge quite a bit more now. But at the time, it was great feedback for me. So have you had these opportunities? Now, again, this is why it's so important that you ask the question about budget, because they may come back with a higher budget. Now, consumer protection for your own mind here. Stay in integrity. Don't just say, I'll take that fee. And then if they go and look at your website and they see your fees and then later they feel kind of like bent out of shape because you charge them significantly more than anybody else would be charged, that's not okay, right? But if that becomes your new pricing, this is the reason to raise your price. So I hope this was helpful. I hope that when you find yourself in these situations that you can think back to these kind of 3 options that I've given you here and you can decide what to do next. All right. So I know this is a short episode. I just wanted to pop in and share it with you because I thought it was a really great topic, and I hope that it will benefit you in some way at some point in your business as you continue to level up. I also want to take this opportunity to thank you for listening. I'm just going to take a couple minutes here to share that I didn't recognize this early enough before we launched the episode that would have actually fallen in our 3-year anniversary. So we're a few weeks, we're probably a month behind me saying this, but the Sales Maven podcast is now turned 3 years old. Can you believe that? If you've been here with me since the beginning, thank you so much for listening. I'm truly honored. And if you're a newer listener to the podcast, thank you for being here. And frankly, thank you for listening this far into the podcast and allowing for me to hopefully pour some love and appreciation on you for being here. I'm very grateful. We posted about this on LinkedIn a couple weeks ago, and we asked people to share what's been your favorite episode of the podcast. And it is such a delight to get to hear what people's favorite episodes are. So I'm going to ask you, in case you didn't see that post, if you would reach out and share what has been your favorite episode of the podcast. What's one that has really stuck out for you? I would just be so thrilled to hear from you. And last, if you haven't yet rated and reviewed the podcast, would you be willing to do that? It takes like maybe 2 minutes at the most to write a review. It takes nothing to rate it. Like, it's so fast, 10 seconds or less. You can leave a rating for the podcast. So if you'd be willing to do that on your favorite podcast app, I would be so, so grateful. And of course, if you know somebody that would benefit from hearing one of the episodes, please share it with them. Thank you again for being here. I wish you continued success. If I can be of service to you at any point, you are welcome to reach out. You know that there's a special offer to join the Sales Maven Society. And if you don't know, it's in the show notes for you. So you're always welcome to come and hang out with us there in the group. That is my group coaching program. There's a lot of amazing things happening in there. In addition to the sales training and guidance from me, you get access to an incredible community. I'm going to say some of the smartest, kindest, most giving community I've ever been a part of. And I'm not even taking credit for it. I'm just saying the people in there are so freaking amazing. I want to pinch myself all the time. So come join us, come hang out there. All right. Have a good rest of your day. Thanks again for being here. Talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to Sales Maven. Visit us online at yoursalesmaven.com/maven for more resources to boost your confidence and skills.